not having the Trucker Safety Diva show tonight, but as you guys know, I am a full-time trucker just like Larry, and as you can tell, the truck is moving right now. But I had to do a little bit more driving than we had anticipated today, and I couldn't stop to do the show. So anyway, I'm going to try and put the show together here for you, and hopefully it goes well. So tonight's show is supposed to be on getting us ready for winter weather. Not only our trucks, but also ourselves. And I know that most of us probably know most of these tips, but we figured, it's a good show to kind of go over refreshers, and especially for maybe the new truckers out there that have never been through a winter before. These are always good tips that everybody could use. And let me state right up front that I'm sure that I forgot a few things. You got to give me a little bit of credit here. I drove all day and I'm tired, so but I will put a copy of this in the Trucker's View and also up on Trucker Safety Divas after I get done making this video, so that you guys can use it as a reference. So we're going to talk about getting our truck ready for winter. So we're already seeing snowfall in a lot of locations, and as of next week we are expecting more snowfall in the Northwest and around Colorado. So this is a perfect time, especially the next couple days, to start getting your winterizing done and ready for your truck. So here's a few key things that I came up with. Again, I'm sure there's other things that we can add to it. If you want to add below in the comments, feel free to. But these are just a couple of things that I came with off the top of my head and doing a little bit of research. Okay, so the most important thing is to get ready to do a once-over on your truck. You want to make sure you're checking things like your belts to make sure they're tight, not frayed. There's no damage on your belts. They're not loose. Also, check your electrical, especially to check around your electrical around your alternator. Larry's going through the mountains, as you can tell. I am shaking pretty good. Check to make sure that your batteries are charging properly. You also want to make sure that if they're not being charged properly, that you get them replaced as soon as possible. While you're checking your batteries, you also want to make sure that the cables look new and not worn, and that there's no corrosion around the connections for your battery. You also want to check to make sure that both your heater and defrost are working properly at maximum capacity. You don't want to start driving down the road and start getting snow or sleet and have a defroster that's not working, because that's just going to make it super dangerous for you to be able to see that road. You also want to make sure that your lights are all working properly, and make sure that you have extra lights on hand just in case you wind up, a light goes out. You don't have to be searching for a backup light bulb. It's also a good time to check the conditions of your windshield and your windshield wiper blades. You want to make sure that they're clean, they're not broken or damaged, and if they are, then it's time to replace them. Also, make sure that you have got plenty of good windshield wiper fluid. You want to get the windshield wiper fluid that does not freeze. It's also a good idea to carry a can of de-icer to help spray your windshield wiper dispenser just in case it tries to ice up on you. Having a little can of de-icer can help prevent that ice buildup on your windshield wiper dispenser. Also, it's a good time to check your air compressor. Make sure that it's working at full capacity, that it's not leaking any oil. Make sure that your air dryer is also working properly, and make sure that you have a new filter in it. It's also a good time to check your air lines. Make sure there's no cracks or air leaks all through your air lines going from the truck to the trailer. And it's a good time that if you do have any leaks, that we go ahead and get those fixed now before the weather gets too cold. You also want to check your clamps for any signs of corrosion, and that all your hoses are in good working condition with no frays or no holes in them. It's also important that you do a thorough check of your tires. You want to check all your tires, your inner, your outer tires, your steers, your drives, and your trailer tires. You also want to check your lug nuts going on those to make sure that there's no oil leaking. Make sure they're all on there properly, they're all tightened. You also want to check your air pressure in all of your tires. Make sure that they're properly inflated. For $10 at Lowe's, guys, you can go into the tire pass and they'll check all your tires, truck and trailer, and make sure that they're all aired up to the proper pressure. So $10 to me sounds worth it. But just make sure that you check both the tires on both the truck and trailer to make sure they're in good working order, so that they'll be able to handle the inclement weather that winter is going to bring with us. So those are the tips for keeping your equipment running. We're going to take just a quick commercial break, and I'll be back in just a few minutes, and we're going to talk about how to get your truck ready for winter. Okay guys, we're back, and we're going to be talking about things that you should keep on your truck during the winter weather. These are things not only for you, but also for your truck. And again, I'm sure there's a few things that I probably forgot or I should have mentioned. And so feel free to leave it down below in the comments. Okay, so here's a few things that I came up with. Make sure that you have an extra fuel filter and also a fuel filter wrench. For a lot of you guys know that, and girls, that majority of the time, if you don't have that fuel filter wrench, you cannot change your fuel filter on your own. So make sure that you have both of those on your truck, because a fuel filter, if you by chance your fuel gels up, you're going to have to replace your fuel filter, and it's a lot less expensive for you to do it than to have to take it or to have to get towed, which has happened to us before. So make sure that you keep an extra fuel filter and a fuel filter wrench. Also fuel conditioner and fuel anti-gel to help prevent your diesel from freezing up in the cold conditions. Also keep an extra windshield wipers, road salt, kitty litter, or a bag of sand to help you with traction in case you get on some ice, or if you get yourself stuck on something. Having an extra bag of kitty litter or sand can really help you with traction and get you out of those slippery areas. Also make sure that you should already have these in your truck already, guys, because I've talked about this in Trucker Safety Info, but you should definitely have your tire chains or your snow tires in your truck already, because I can tell you right now, the states, if the cops pull you over and you don't have them, it's a hefty fine. So make sure you have those in your truck, and make sure that you have enough chains or snow tires according to what state you're going into. Because, for example, California's regulations are different than Utah's. So make sure you check what the regulations are as far as how many chains you need, depending on what state you're going into. It's really easy. Just look it up on Google. Also, other great things for you to have: small shovel, again, in case you get stuck in snow, to help get yourself out. And a small can of ether is also a good thing to have on hand, just in case your locks freeze up on your doors or your toolboxes. And it's also a great thing to have in case your truck dies, to help get your truck restarted, especially in freezing cold weather. So a little can of ether does many functions. Okay guys, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about getting ourselves ready for winter and our fur babies. We'll be back in just a few minutes. getting yourself prepared for winter, and also some tips for driving in bad weather. So I'm going to kind of do a two-part segment. Also, I want to do a quick reminder, next Saturday for the Trucker Safety Divas show, we are going to do the show that we had planned on doing last week on diabetes. So we will be doing that show next Saturday. If you are struggling with diabetes, or your spouse or significant other, and you would like to be a guest on the show, be sure to get a hold of myself or Jessica, and we'll get you scheduled for the show next Saturday. And you can come on and talk to us about the struggles that you have trying to keep diabetes under control. Okay, so we're going to talk about getting ourselves ready for winter weather. It's really important. We have to try to forecast that possibly our truck is going to break down in the winter and maybe we don't have heat. So the most important thing is that you need to make sure that you have enough supplies on your truck to keep you, your co-driver, and if you have fur babies with you, safe and warm. Larry and I broke down last year, as a lot of you guys know, in Wyoming. The temperature was minus 16. We had no heat for the whole day. And luckily, we were very prepared. But it was still freezing cold. So these are just some of the tips. Again, I may have forgotten a few things. So feel free to add below in the comment section and let me know if there's maybe something that I forgot. Okay. Most important thing is to have a really warm and heavy, thick sleeping bag or comforter. That's going to keep you warm in case your heater goes out or your truck breaks down. Personally, on our truck, I believe we've got, I want to say 3 or 4 comforters and 2 blankets. Last year when we broke down, we had 5 comforters to keep myself, Larry, and the 2 dogs warm. So thank God we were prepared. You also want to make sure that you have several pairs of waterproof gloves. You got to think that if you're going out and you're possibly a flatbedder, or you're going out and you're doing your pre-tripping, you're going to get wet out there in the snow and the ice. So make sure that you have waterproof jackets and coats and gloves and boots so that you're not getting your skin exposed and wet to the elements. Make sure you have the waterproof boots again. Make sure you have a warm waterproof jacket. We actually recommend that you keep 2 jackets just in case the one does get wet. You have a secondary jacket to wear maybe later on in the day. You also want to have nice thick socks. Several pairs of nice thick warm socks to wear in your waterproof boots. You want to have hats or earmuffs to make sure you're keeping those ears and face protected, especially when we're getting below 0. We know when we get up into the northwest that it can get brutally cold. So make sure that you're keeping as much of your skin that's exposed covered and warm so that you're going to prevent yourself from getting frostbite. Also, another great thing is, and I've already started to see them at the truck stops, guys, is those portable hand warmers. They're like this big. They're anywhere from 99 cents to $1.99, and it's just a little bag that you break, and it lasts for 4 to 5 hours, and it gives you really good warmth. Those are awesome to put inside your gloves, but also inside your boots. When you have downtime in your own personal vehicle, go to your local Walmart, your local Walgreens, and stock up on those because they're much cheaper any place other than the truck stops. You're gonna pay about double at the truck stops. They're still not bad. They're like $1.99 at the truck stop. But I don't know about you. I'd rather spend 99 cents at Walmart than $1.99 at the truck stop. So just grab a couple of those, keep them up front so that when you're having to get out, stick a couple in your gloves, a couple in your boots. It's going to help you to prevent you from getting frostbite. And for 99 cents for each of your extremities, it's well worth it. Also make sure that you have supplies not only for you, but if you have fur babies, you need to make sure that you have plenty of supplies for them. Making sure you have extra blankets for them, making sure that you have water that's not going to freeze on your truck, and making sure that you have plenty of pet food for them. Just like with your pets, you need to make sure that you are prepared for you and your co-driver, just in case you get stuck on the side of the road. You want to make sure that you always have on hand a can opener, cans of food like maybe ravioli or SpaghettiOs or soup or some canned vegetables. Also some snacks, and again, plenty of water in a place that's not going to freeze in your truck. Okay, so here are some tips for driving in bad weather, and I hate to say it, guys, but it's coming. It's right around the corner. I know some of us have already experienced snow, and it's coming. So number one rule, and the most important rule, and the one Larry and I live by, and it's very simple. If you're nervous about the road conditions outside, pull over. Never push yourself beyond your comfort zone or the limits of your own truck. It is much safer for you to pull over until the weather conditions have subsided a little bit than for you to get into an accident and hurt yourself, hurt others, or damage your truck. So if you're feeling nervous, it is best just to pull over until the weather subsides. It's going to be much better on you, much better on your equipment, and much better for everybody else on the road. There's no shame in pulling over if you're nervous about weather conditions. Larry and I have a philosophy that if we have to put chains on, it's not worth us driving, and we'll pull over. Just remember the old philosophy that everybody always says, no load is worth your life. Also, carry something for traction in case you get into a slippery situation like we talked to before. You want to make sure that you have kitty litter, a bag of sand, to help get you out of those slippery situations, and maybe a small shovel as well. Never drive in winter conditions without your lights on. Have all of the lights on your truck on so that you are very visible to everybody on the road, especially if you get into those conditions like in Wyoming what do I want to say? Wyoming and Nevada, where you may have blowing snow. You want to make sure you have your lights on so you're extremely visible to everybody on the road. Remember that bridges and overpasses may be much slipperier than the interstates and highways, so make sure you proceed much slower on those. Too often times I've seen truckers, keep the same speed that they're keeping on the interstates and the highways, and then they get on those bridges and the overpasses, and next thing you know, they're in front of you slipping and sliding. So just make sure that you keep your foot off the accelerator. Don't be using your gas going over the bridges and the overpasses. Just cruise over those at a lower speed so that you're not slipping and sliding everywhere and finding yourself into a jackknife situation. Do not tailgate. I'm sure a lot of us are guilty of this, but do not tailgate in bad weather, especially in adverse weather conditions. Whether it's slick conditions or icy conditions, and especially when you come into an intersection, you got to remember you got to leave yourself a lot more time to slow down, a lot more time to watch out for other traffic that may be in front of you that they may be having a hard time slowing down and coming to a full stop, especially inside of your intersection. So allow yourself enough space that you're able to come to a complete stop without having to hit anybody around you. And also, when you accelerate or you decelerate, remember to do so slowly. Don't jam on the gas. Remember that the truck is pulling your trailer in these adverse conditions, whether it's snow or whether it's ice. And when you're punching down on the accelerator or you're decelerating very fast, it makes for perfect conditions for you to jackknife your trailer or your truck. So those are my tips. I hope some of you guys found them helpful. Again, we'll be back here next Saturday with our show. I'll have Jess with me. I believe Mike Mulder's also going to be a guest with us, and we'll be talking all about diabetes. So don't forget to, if you haven't had a chance yet, stop by and join Trucker Safety Info. This is where I share all weather, construction, accident information for all my truckers out there on the road. And if you are a female, whether you're a truck driver or maybe a fan of truckers or a spouse of a trucker, we encourage you to stop by Trucker Safety Divas. It's an all-female group, and come join us. All right, thanks everybody. Be safe out there, and to all my truckers, keep the shiny side up. Mwah!